Hello everyone, hope you're having a glorious day. Far and away, people's bad choices about how to express themselves sexually is what ruins lives. I see people in my psychiatry practice that make choices and destroy families, destroy their lives in an instant. And not only does this ruin lives, but unhealthy families mean sick communities and sick civilization. On the other hand, during my 20 years of practice, I've come to see families who have taught and encouraged their kids with good behaviors and taught them the important things about building healthy relationships and how to express their sexuality inside of the safety and sacredness of a marriage. And I get to see the fruit of that. I get to see healthy families, happy marriages. So I want to share with you the things that I discuss with spouses, with parents, with adolescents to help build up their ideas, their understanding about what is healthy sexuality. Now, couples are happiest when they have sex at least once per week, but more did not make them happier. This is what this paper published in 2015 showed. So there's a minimum quota, but you don't get bonus points for doing more. So one a week is the right formula. And Americans are now having sex less because increased work, because of pornography, of course, and the younger generation does not have stable long-term relationships. That's what this paper showed in 2017. Now, what about, no, I don't feel like it? Well, in other studies where they looked at how do men know if they're aroused and do women know if they're aroused, it showed that women were much less aware that they were aroused or they weren't aroused. Now, in this research, 85% of women were satisfied when they said yes to sex with their husbands, even if they thought they were not aroused. So if they just capitulated, they actually ended up enjoying themselves. Now, what's the take-home of this? The take-home is get married because sex life improves. Use boundaries. They protect your work-life balance. Say yes at least once per week to your spouse, and don't access pornography. Dr. John Sanford, who wrote The Sexual Holocaust, asked me how I engage parents on this topic. What about masturbation? Well, what I teach parents and teach adolescents is explore the good body that God gave you. Don't use pornography. Imagine a not yet identified future spouse. And I want to say some more about how you identify, how you think about those interactions. But first I will say, sometimes we get trauma victims, and trauma victims have trauma victims with a sexual molestation or sexual abuse. They are trying to have intimacy with their spouse, and sometimes we give them assignments of sensual touch and exploring their own bodies so that they can achieve eventually good sexual intimacy with their spouse. Now, as far as pornography goes, I had a patient recently say, well, I guess if you consider pornography bad, I use it, but I don't really think it's bad. There's no question pornography is definitely bad. Dopamine surges increase delta phos B, and it makes pleasurable things that were previously pleasurable not pleasurable. So you might enjoy reading a book. Well, after a course of virtual sex and pornography, you don't even enjoy reading a book or learning an instrument. There's a hypersensitivity to pornography, and your willpower goes away. So you trade virtual sex, something imaginary, for something real. And this is what I talk to people that are fantasizing. I ask them to use their imagination about real things that lead to intimacy, like courtship, touching, being touched, smells, pheromones, emotional connections, and interaction with a real person. So I have them think about the most common needs of a woman in a relationship and the most common needs for a man in a marriage. And when these needs are not met, or when they're not communicated, or when how you would use the communication to overcome some of the most common problems. This is from the Gottman Institute, which is an excellent resource for building healthy relationships. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to talking to you next time.